Hey, what is up everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're kind of doing a new kind of video. I kind of wanted to start making like, if you've ever seen Moist Critical's like Moist Meter, it's kind of stuff like that, you know, where I kind of go through certain, it's pretty much probably going to just be strictly anime related. I don't think I'm really going to do much else, because anime is the preferred thing that I like to do. It's kind of like that. I'm kind of going to go through the synopsis of what I'm watching and what I'm talking about, what I like about it, what I dislike about it, and I'm going to try and give it a completely fairly rated overall score. I don't want to like really go into it and, you know, give my biased opinion and be like, yes, this is absolutely fantastic, you should 100% watch it, it's flawless, and then you watch it and you're like, well, it's nowhere near as good as what you said it was, so why did you say that? But yeah, I'm going to try and give out a completely unbiased opinion. The first episode, if you may have read in the title, is going to be about Naruto. Now, like I said before, I am going to try and give a completely unbiased opinion because Naruto is my favorite anime, okay? And I could watch it 100 times, I have watched it 100 times, and I could watch it 100 more times, and I would not get bored of it at all. But that's just me. Of course, you know, people always say that about their favorite shows. But yeah, I'm going to try and go through it. If you're living under a rock, you probably haven't heard of Naruto. If you're not living under a rock, you've heard of Naruto. Everyone's heard of Naruto. It's one of the big three. It's incredibly fun, and I would highly recommend anyone to watch it. Maybe not as a starting anime. It is 720 episodes, so you might take you a little while to get through it, although there is a lot of filler. So you can 100% skip that. If filler's not your thing, Naruto is finished, so you can easily skip it. There are like filler checkers or whatever you want to call them all over the place. But if that's not your kind of thing and you prefer to watch all 720 episodes, by all means do. I've seen all 720 episodes. I've watched all of the filler, but yeah, you can easily skip it. It doesn't really matter. But getting into it. Firstly, I'm going to talk about the synopsis. So just give you a kind of really short rundown of what Naruto is about. So it's basically about this kid called Naruto, would you believe it or not. So when he was born, this nine-tailed fox attacked his village. It appeared out of nowhere, attacked his village, and killed a bunch of people and destroyed his village. And the fourth Hokage, the Hokage being the person who sort of leads, he's the leader of the village, sealed the nine tails inside of Naruto. So that's basically the very beginning of the first episode. Then it just immediately leaves it like 12 years later when Naruto's a little bit older. Well, a lot bit older. So Naruto's kind of become this prankster because everybody in his village like despises him. They don't see Naruto for Naruto, they only see him for the nine-tailed fox, the demon spirit that lives inside of him. And he absolutely hates it. He hates being defined as this monster when people don't even know who he really is. So his whole goal, kind of like how Luffy wants to become the Pirate King, he wants to become the Hokage. He wants to become the leader of his village. There are 5 Kage. There's the Hokage, which is what Naruto wants to be, the Mizukage, the Kazekage, the Tsuchikage, and the Raikage. So these all govern the 5 lands that are in Naruto. So basically throughout the show, Naruto's just trying to prove that, you know, he isn't the demon fox and, you know, he's not going to, you know, rampage and kill everyone. This demon fox is trying his hardest basically to get out of Naruto and being able to roam free and, you know, destroy and pillage and do whatever he wants to do. So Naruto's just trying to get stronger to prove to everybody that, you know, he isn't what they think he is and become the leader of his village so everybody's going to respect him. Now, straight from the get-go, from the first episode, Naruto already starts to prove that. He's, you know, as all shonen characters are, he's super weak at the beginning, although shameless plug, I made a video where, you know, I went into how Naruto was actually pretty overpowered as a kid, at least in my opinion. So if you guys want to go and watch that, by all means do. If you haven't seen Naruto, I wouldn't recommend it. It goes throughout all of the first like part of Naruto. So it does go into spoilers. But yeah, he's basically trying to prove and get stronger just so people, you know, look at him differently. And he does do that. I don't think it's not really given a spoiler. It's pretty obvious that the main character is going to become stronger and, you know, going to change people's opinions about him. So yeah, that's pretty much what it's about in like a really short, trying not to give anything away synopsis. That is the goal of Naruto. Now there's a lot of stuff that happens in between then in the end, but of course you're gonna have to watch that to find that out. There's really good side characters. I like pretty much all of the side characters. There's good villains. There's hyped up villains that live up to the reputation of that they get. There are bad villains that I don't really like and don't care about, but you get that with every show. Some things you do like, some things you don't like, so you just kind of have to, you know, figure that out for yourself. Praising Naruto is something I could do all day, but if I had to nitpick and pick one thing that I could praise over all else, it would have to be the fights in Naruto. There are a lot of anime, like Dragon Ball Super and, you know, Dragon Ball Z, are kind of guilty of doing this thing where they just do a lot of screaming and there's a lot of basically the same two like frames just flashing back and forth, so it looks like they're moving, and I hate when they do that. I absolutely hate when an anime does that, but luckily for Naruto, I think the choreography and the fights in Naruto are really good, and if I could praise any one thing above all else, it would be the fights in Naruto. Would highly recommend just watching them all. Pay attention to them, because there's stuff that happens where if you blink, you're probably going to miss it, and you're probably going to think, how has he just done that? Because there's 3 different fighting styles in Naruto. You've got taijutsu, which is hand-to-hand combat. You've got ninjutsu, which is kind of like, you know, using the different elements to create like their own sort of moves and, you know, or special moves or whatever you want to call them. And then there's genjutsu, which is kind of using sort of illusions and messing with people's minds, making them think that they're saying something they're not actually saying, or something that they thought was there isn't actually there. And that can really mess with you, because there's a lot of the stuff where you watch it and you think, wait, whoa, how's that happened? And you realize it wasn't ever real in the first place. Genjutsu, by the way, is my personal favorite. I would, like, if I could pick any one to have in the real world, I think I would have Genjutsu, because it's super cool. I always thought of myself more as a hand-to-hand combat kind of guy, but you know, yeah, we are. I think Genjutsu is a lot cooler than the rest of them, but hey, like I say, that's just me. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that happens in Naruto, and like I say, the fights are definitely a highlight, 100%. Everybody that I see who talks about Naruto always talks about how the fights are probably the best thing about it, and I would agree. Like, out of like, you know, characters and story and things like that, I think the fights were definitely the highlight of it. The choreography for all of them are really good, and none of them are just these 2 frames flashing back and forth. If I had to nitpick about something I didn't like, and you know, something that kind of goes downhill, there's probably 2 things I could pick, which is the animation at times does get a little bit wonky. Especially during the last season, the last kind of arc of Naruto. It's a really long arc. It takes place over 2 days in the show, but it's like 200 episodes or something. It's a really long arc. And there's a lot of moments where, you know, things look really dodgy, or you can tell it's being rushed and being drawn really badly. And there's one particular fight during the last arc of Naruto that I think, had they've had the time and had the money and the budget, that it could have looked really nice. But unfortunately, they kind of rushed it a little bit, I think. And, you know, the fight is good, but it just doesn't look good, if you know what I mean. But they do bring it back. The final fight of Naruto is absolutely amazing. It's incredibly well done. Has a really satisfying conclusion, I think. And the animation of it is unbelievable. It's night and day. You go from pretty good, well, pretty meh animation, and then this fight happens and the animation gets a little bit better. You're like, oh, that looks pretty good. And then the final fight happens and the animation just goes from good to amazing really quick. 0 to 100. It's really good. And the other nitpick is there are plot holes in Naruto, and it's stuff that I just kind of try to ignore, because I like Naruto regardless of the plot holes. I think it's really good. But there are stuff where you'll be looking at a character going, wait, how are you doing that? Because you 100% couldn't do that before, especially in the last arc. The last arc of Naruto has a lot of, you know, characters, you know, doing jutsu where they're spamming a jutsu. But, you know, at the beginning of the show, which isn't even that long ago, you know, they were saying, oh, I can only do this move twice. Now that's it, I'm out of chakra and I can't do it anymore. But then in the last arc, they're shooting off this jutsu every other minute, and I'm just like where's the middle ground? How can you do that now? And there's a lot of that kind of stuff where like characters will be, you know, spamming things. I'm like, realistically, should this not have happened? And like, yeah, it should have, but you know, plot hole, or a character will show up and have something that they definitely never got mentioned at all of having, but now all of a sudden they've got it, and it's just kind of like, well, I mean, yeah, sure, if it moves the plot along, by all means, I'm up for it. But that was definitely not there before, right? So it's moments like that where, you know, it kind of takes you away from the story and the sort of impact. But nonetheless, I absolutely love Naruto, and I'm really trying not to give it a biased opinion, because in my opinion, it's a 10 out of 10. Easily, I could watch, like I said before, I could watch Naruto 100 times more. I've seen it 100 times, and I'm currently rewatching it now. Me and my friend are on episode 250 of Naruto Shippuden, which is like the next part of Naruto. So we're already rewatching it, and between us, we've probably seen it about 20-30 times. It's kind of disgusting, but nonetheless, I absolutely, like I say, I absolutely love Naruto. But I'm going to try and give it a non-biased opinion, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And that's me being a non-biased opinion. In my humble opinion, as a anime connoisseur, 9 out of 10 is completely unbiased. In the 0.5s that I'm going to take off, or like I said, the animation can get a bit dodgy at times, and the plot holes that are in Naruto are kind of undeniable, and you kind of can't not notice them when they're there. But nonetheless, it moves the plot along. The show's still really good in my opinion, so who am I to judge? If you've got a retcon, you have to retcon, you know what I mean? I've never judged people for doing that. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you have a different opinion, which this is anime, this is the whole weeb community, everyone's going to have a different opinion, I can already tell. But if you do enjoy and you do agree with me, leave a comment, leave a like. If you don't enjoy it and you don't agree with me, leave a comment, dislike it, I don't know. But leave a comment and tell me what you think of Naruto. If it's a 9 out of 10, if it's a 10 out of 10, if it's a 1 out of 10, you'd be wrong, but it's your opinion. And yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have a great day. And yeah, I'll see if you're doing like these kind of videos where I kind of go over anime. Obviously, this is the first one I've ever done, so it's definitely going to be a bit janky. But nonetheless, if you guys do enjoy it, please do let me know, and I'll continue them. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.